The one mistake new real estate investors must avoid. There's one misconception about real estate investing that I want to correct today and go on record. In fact, it's so important I wish I could reach through this screen and shake you and say, listen to me. Okay, guys? That mistake is getting too attached to a single deal. You're gonna be like, well, come on, Ryan. No, getting too attached to a single deal. Okay? So you don't want to just put all your cards on the table and go for one specific property. Don't get in love with that property. Get in love with the numbers. The numbers have to work. What happens is I find a lot of people, they find a potential property, they fall in love with that property, and they disregard some of the numbers, like for comparables and rehab, and they think they're gonna make a bunch of money, and it ends up not that case. That's what I do not want to happen to you. Now, why is this? Well, typically, there's a thing called sunk cost bias, which basically means if you've already invested money into something, you're biased towards continuing to invest in that. And this applies to time as well. So if I invest a bunch of time in something, I'm gonna look for all the ways that it makes sense rather than being critical. Now, we want to look for ways for it to make sense, but we also want to say, does it not make sense as well? And we want to be very open-minded. We say, hey, we're agnostic about the property. What we care about are the numbers. So a lot of investors will overvalue a property and they will underestimate how much the repairs are actually going to happen. So there's a couple of other reasons why I think this can be really devastating. Falling in love with one deal is it takes a process. You're gonna have to find a whole bunch of deals. Early on, new investors find one deal and they're like, oh, I'm gonna make all this money. And it was a lot of work to find that one deal. And if that one deal doesn't work out, they're like, forget it, I'm devastated. And they give up and they don't keep coming, making new offers. So I usually tell new investors they need to make 25 to 100 offers to find a deal. And if you stick to it and keep doing it, your chances of finding this deal go up drastically. Now, it could be the first one, it could be the 100th one. A lot of stuff goes into that. But what I don't want to do is have you fall in love with a deal, get discouraged, and stop investing. That's the worst thing that could possibly happen. So fall in love with the numbers. Don't fall in love with the deal. So the other thing you should be doing is working on multiple deals. Some people will make one offer and they'll wait and try and see where that happens before they make another offer. No, we want to be making multiple offers every single week, looking at deals. And then the fear there is, what if all of them get accepted, Ryan? What if every offer I make, if I make 5 offers this week and they all say yes? Well, first off, that's a great problem to have. That's the type of problem you want to be solving. So what you can do is a few things. If that's the case, all 5 of them accept. You've got to have a due diligence period where you go in there and say, hey, does this make sense for me? So you'll want to look at those and you could do one of a few things. Number 1, you could look and determine what's the very best deal and just take that one. Number 2, you could close on some of the other deals and wholesale them or rehab them as well. And you could cancel the other ones and say, you know, this just isn't going to work by the numbers. Now, probably about half of those are not going to work out anyway. So even if you got 5 accepted, 2 or 3 are going to fall out, which leaves you with 2. You could take one, wholesale it. You could take the other one, fix it up and flip it, and you would be off to the races. So don't be intimidated by making multiple offers. The other really important thing here is don't lose your earnest money. You can put deadlines in for inspections, for appraisals, for loan denials to make sure you don't lose your earnest money. It is your responsibility to make sure you don't lose your earnest money. You're the one that's got to look out for that. No lender or anybody else is even going to be on target for what's happening there. You've got to be. And the biggest thing is that inspections and due diligence deadline. You need to make sure you give yourself plenty of time to get inspectors out there to determine what's going on with a property so you have very few unforeseen things that could happen in the future. You also want to make sure that you've got your contractor and contractor bids, and you want to make sure that all the systems and those things are working, which would happen during the inspections. You want to be able to do all of that during your due diligence period. And then at the end of that, if that's good and you're comfortable that you're going to be able to get the money for the financing, that's when you say, I'm comfortable moving forward. That's when your earnest money potentially could be at jeopardy. So you want to protect that earnest money and make sure that you are doing those proper steps. But do not make this number 1 mistake, which is getting attached to a single deal and falling in love with it. I put together a video on why hard money is the backbone of fix and flip. You're gonna wanna check this out. Why hard money comes before finding a property, why every deal should start with finding a hard money lender, what to look for when you're looking for hard money lenders. Check this video out and make it a very profitable day.